Okay, so welcome back. It's Mrs. Smith here. We're working on lesson 2-3, exponents and multiplication. So yesterday we talked about in order to do exponents and multiplication, you keep the base the same and you add the exponents together. And I left you with the number 15 to kind of think about. What did you come up with? Anybody have any ideas? Hopefully you said, oh, I got to keep the base the same. So my base would be 3. And then, of course, the rule is to add the exponents together. Now, we really can't add m and n because they're variables and they're not alike, if you remember that from some of your other previous things. So we would just have 3 to the m plus n power. That's all we can do. There isn't any more that we can do to finish that up. So that's what we'd have, 3 to the m plus n. All right, so continuing on, number 16. How about if we have 7 to the x times 7 to the y. So that's just like what we were working with. So the base would be 7, and you would add the exponents, but we really can't add those together because we don't know what they are and they're not alike. So we would just say 7 to the x plus y. So you'll see some of those on your homework. So be careful. Make sure you take care of that. All right, so let's take it up another notch and let's add this. 5x squared times x to the third times x to the 7th. Okay, so now how I took it up a notch, did you notice? And I'm going to highlight it. Let's see, maybe I highlighted in, I'm feeling like blue today, so highlight it. No, I already did blue. So let's do purple. Sure. So did you notice this 5 here? That's a big guy. All along, you're going to multiply the big guys. And right now, that's all you have. Because technically, there's kind of a 1 in front of here, and there's a 1 in front of here. So this would be 5 times 1 times 1. And 5 times 1 times 1 is just 5. So essentially, you just carry it over. So big guy or whole number would probably be the best way to say it. And it's definitely a coefficient, the number before the variable. Now from there, we're going to go ahead and collect our like terms. So I have x and x and x. So my base is x. And then I'm going to add my exponents, which are 2 and 3 and 7. And 2 plus 3 plus 7 equals 12. So 5x to the 12th power. All right. So let's do another like that. So number 18. What if I have xy to the third times 3x times y to the 5th. Okay, so once again, look for that big guy. Let me pick up my purple and look at that whole number, that coefficient. It's a 3. In front of here's a 1 and a 1, so it's like 3 times 1 times 1, which is 3. Then pick up your y or your x's. Let's do x's, x and x. So that leaves you with x. And then your exponents, if there's nothing here, it's a 1. If there's nothing here, it's a 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Then pick up your y's. I think I did blue. Y and y. So that would be y. And then, oops, whoopsie, y. And then you add your 3 plus 5, and that's 8. So 3x squared y to the 8th. Notice they're all smushed together. No time signs because I'm a big kid now. I smush them all together. All right, so number 19. Let's throw a little bit from yesterday in with today. Or not yesterday, but 2 days ago. So I have x times x to the 0 power. So x to the 0 power, you know that anything to the 0 power is, hopefully you're telling me, hopefully you're saying it's 1. So now I really have just x times 1. Well, what's x times 1? Well, anything times 1 is just itself. So the answer here is just x. That's it. So let's do another similar. How about x squared times 3x to the 0 power? 3x to the 0 power. So you have 3 times x to the 0 power. X to the 0 power is just 1. So now you have x squared times 3 times 1. So before, when I multiplied my coefficients, I just had 3 times 1, which is going to be 3. And then I have x squared. Nothing else to combine it with. Okay. All right. So let's see. A couple more. And then what if I had something like this? What if I had 21? What if I had negative 3 to the c power times negative 3 to the f power? Okay, so it's kind of going back to like numbers 14, no, not 14, numbers 15 and 16. So I keep the base the same, which is negative 3, and then I add my exponents, which are c and f, so it'd be negative 3 to the c plus f. I just bring this one up because if it's in parentheses, your answer also has to be in parentheses because that's how they want it. Okay, so if they have it in parentheses, you have to continue the parentheses. So how about this one, number 22? What if I have parentheses 7x squared times parentheses 7x squared? That's interesting. So I see those parentheses, and this is my base. My base is 7x squared. So I'm going to keep those parentheses, and I'm going to say my base is 7x squared. Now, there's not a coefficient here, and when you can't see anything, you put a 1 in there. A 1 and a 1. So now we're just going to add those up. 1 plus 1 is 2. So my answer would be 7x squared to the second power. Now, I want to show you something. This 7x squared to the second power, actually, this is kind of taken it up a notch. And if you don't understand that, this is okay. But some of you are ready to understand this. That 7 is really to the second power as well as x to the second power. So it's really like 7 squared times x squared to the second power. So I'm just kind of telling you a little bit. You don't really need to know all of this, but I thought some of you might be ready for it. Well, what's 7 squared? That means 7 times 7. 7 times 7 is 49 times, now we have x squared squared. So this really means x times x, because that's x squared, and then you have two of them, times x. So all together, you have x to the 1, 2, 3, 4th power, and so your answer would be 49x to the 4th. Now at this point, I'm satisfied with just leaving it like this, but I just kind of gave you a glimpse into your future. So that's going to be something that you're going to cover in algebra when you get there next year. Okay? All right. One last little section I want to talk about, and that is going to be equals, less than, or greater than. So what if I have 23? What if I have 4 to the 5th power and 4 times 4 to the 4th power? So now you've got 4 to the 5th power, which is just 4 to the 5th power. And here you have 4. Could I put a 1 here? I could. And this is keep the base the same. And then add your exponents. 4 plus 1 is 5. And guess what? I've got 4 to the 5th power and 4 to the 5th power. So those are equal. That's one way you could do it. Number 24. What if I had 5 to the 2nd times 5 to the 4th, and then I have 25 to the 6th power? Now, another way you could do it is keep the base the same, so just like we did before, and then add your exponents. So 2 plus 4 is 6, so this is 5 to the 6th power. And then over here you have 25 to the 6th power. So now let's think about that. If you didn't have a calculator, of course you could put it in your calculator, 25 to the 6th power. But if you didn't have a calculator, let's think about it. You have 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Here you have 25 times 25 times 25 times 25 times 25 times 25, and you have 6 of those. Now, what's going to be bigger? You don't even need a calculator. Here you're multiplying 5 each time. Here you're multiplying 25 each time for the same amount of times. I don't think you need a calculator to figure out, well, this side's definitely going to be bigger because I'm multiplying 25 each time. If you weren't sure, though, you could definitely rely on your calculator, plug them in. This is like 15,625. This is like, I don't know, 244 million. 140,625. Well, by golly, it's definitely a lot bigger. okay? And then one more, 25. What if I have 81 to 9 squared times 9 squared? Ooh, now this is different. This is 81, so 81, okay? And this is keep the base the same, add the exponents, so 2 plus 2 is 4, 9 to the 4th power. Now, I could calculate 9 to the 4th power, but again, I kind of want you to use your reasoning skills. This means 9 times 9 times 9 times 9, correct? Well, what's 9 times 9? 81. And then you have to multiply it by 9 and multiply it by another 9. What's going to be bigger? Well, here's 81 right here. That's only 9 squared, only 2 of them. So without ever using my calculator, I can just use my reasoning skills and say, yep, that one's bigger. All right, there you have it, exponents and multiplication. Get working on that practice problems. Good luck.